I hope y'all are excited because we have an epilogue to sit through. Greetings, suburbanites. Welcome back to what I guess is the finale of Let's Play Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. The main campaign at any rate, but I'll talk about that in a bit. Now we gotta see the epilogue. Meanwhile, back in Ralph's court. The frame. It is time I must be going. I'm still Princess of Ralston after all. There is much to which I must attend. Renee and Ralston are far apart, but that distance can be managed somehow. If you and I were to be the betrothed, that is. I wonder if I appear too forward. No, how silly of me. We're just going everywhere around the world now. The frame. I must return to Darkling Woods. With my father gone, much responsibility falls on my shoulders. Yet I would ask, may I come and visit you from time to time? We of Frelia will do what we can to aid in the restoration of Renee. If you have need of our assistance, you can come to me at any time. And another thing, it wasn't such a bad thing fighting on the same side as you. That's all. The day will come, though. One day we will see who is the better. Meanwhile, FE8's sequel where Innes turned out to be the villain. That would suck, honestly. Because Innes is a cool guy, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind a sequel to this game if it completely focused on LaRochelle's perspective, mind you. Or a remake of this game that did that. But anyway. Where are you going, brother? We've endured so much to get home, and now... I'm sorry, Eureka. I must journey to the grotto. I just received word from Seth. In the south within the Empire, there's been an enormous landslide. A landslide? Yes, word is it was so great that whole cities were destroyed. They say the damage is so severe the Empire itself is in danger. That's why I must go to Grotto. The people are saying this is Grotto's divine punishment. These are the same citizens Lion wanted nothing more than to protect. I cannot ignore their plight. Yes, of course not. I'll ride with you. No, you must remain in Renee. Our country is recovering, but we cannot rest easy. Someone must stay to protect the realm. Frame, I understand. I'll take your place until you return. I'll wait for you in Renee, brother. I can always depend on you, Eureka. Lion. Oh, I will be king. The type of king we often spoke of. Strong and kind in measure. An ideal king. The people of Renee and Grotto are under my protection, and I won't fail them. Watch and see. So now that's done. Credits time. So, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. It's not a great game, all things considered. Like, I said at the start this was my third favorite Fire Emblem game. I've changed my opinion since then. It's actually my second favorite Fire Emblem game out of the entire series. But that doesn't mean I think it is the second greatest Fire Emblem game out there. I definitely don't. It would be folly to think so. Because it has its issues. The main lords aren't interesting at all. And the game is really easy to get overpowered in really early. And the enemies don't get that challenging towards endgame. That being said, I've died like 11 times in separate occasions as the game progressed. I don't know how. Maybe I just suck. That's probably closest to the truth. Meanwhile, all these like CGs are playing, and all these names I'm ignoring. But I really do enjoy it. I think it has like has one of the better music tracks out of the GBA series. Most of the side characters I love more than any other Fire Emblem game except 9. I don't think... Well, 13's characters are interesting, but I think they're done that way on purpose, so I don't know if I should count that or not. But, probably should. But yeah, of the free GBA games, this is definitely my favorite, because 6 is terrible. And for some reason, I just find FE7 to be kind of overrated, in all honesty. Not that it's bad, it's definitely better than 8, but I don't know, I just don't like it as much. I say that if anyone wants to get into Fire Emblem, and you don't have Awakening, that Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, considering how easy that it is, it's a double-edged sword. For veterans, you might hate the fact that it's so easy, but for newcomers, it's an easy game to get into. And it's not bad, all things considered. I think it's overhated, honestly. But for reasons that I can completely understand. I completely understand why this game is hated so much, but I think it's overblown a little bit. That's just my opinion. You can disagree with it, and you have every right to do so. Anyway, Loudon Lassie G. Oh, are you? My name is Lion. Uh-huh, that's me, the son of the Emperor. You're Prince Ephraim and Princess Rika from Renee, aren't you? I heard you were coming, and I've been waiting here all day. I've always wanted... I don't have any friends my own age. So, Prince Ephraim, Princess Erika, what do you say? From now on, let's be friends. That's about as awkward as me. So now we can see how many turns this game took us. 4, 8, 7, 17, 12, 11, 27, 9, 21, 22, 41, 11, 8, 25, 25, 21, 58, 28, 39, 12, 36, 11, 97, and 13. That 97 is because I grinded so much for supports. Anyway, now we get to see, like, what these people do after the war now. Which FE9 didn't do. They did in the sequel, but the sequel's bad, so... Anyway, Seth returned to Renee with Ephraim and his fellow knights. His dedicated service made him the most trusted of the new king and queen's guardsmen, as well as the most famous of knights in all of Renee. Franz the Faithful. He continued to serve Renee with the same devotion that he had during the War of the Stones. That's what they call it, by the way, now. His generous nature and easy smile made him a favorite among the people. Silent Gilliam and Graceful Cyrene. Gilliam and Cyrene returned to Fralia, where they were married. All agreed they were a perfect match, and their union was blessed by the crown and the Order of Knights. The two continued their unwavering service together. Where is he? Yes, my man! After the War of the Stones, Mulder continued to serve the royal family of Fralia. His wisdom served to guide King Innes, as it had served King Hayden before him. So yeah, these endings are different depending on certain supports. And if your unit died during the playthrough and stayed dead, if you didn't, like if you're Iron Manning or whatever, it'll say what chapter they died on. She remained in active duty as an airborne knight in Fralia's army, who beauty and determination. I don't really care about Vanessa, so get wrecked, Merc. Ross, his father's son, he returned to Ide, village of his youth, and helped rebuild it after the bandit attack that brought it to ruin. Years later, he set out on his own to perfect his fighting skill and hone both body and spirit. This goes by so slowly. Garcia, the warrior reborn. He returned to Ide to help with its reconstruction after the bandit attack. Afterward, he re-enlisted in the army, serving Renee as a troop leader. His strength, valor, and experience inspired many. Call him the good-natured thief. He politely refused an invitation to become a spy for Renee, returning instead to his hometown. He spent the rest of his days as a chivalrous rogue, helping those in need from the shadows. She returned to her village and passed her days in peace and quiet. Years later, she traveled to the capital of Renee as an archery instructor for their military. She never could resist a good cry. Arthur, Saint of Light. Arthur moved to Renee to help rebuild the shattered country. He worked without rest to ease the pain and grief of those who suffered during the war. His self-sacrifice made him into a folk hero among the peasantry. Ah, the peasantry! Joshua, the Tempest King. Joshua returned to Johanna and ruled over it as king. His skills as a leader had grown great. Johanna flourished as never before. He never outgrew his love of travel and gambling, games of chance. I wonder if that changes if he had the aid support of Rochelle, though. Natasha's sacred healer. Once the war was over, Natasha returned to Grotto to help rebuild the empire. She dedicated herself to easing the grief of those families that lost soldiers during the war. You know, typical priest-cleric shit. Ford, the wild knight. Upon Ford's return to Renee, his secret hobby of painting was discovered. He was commissioned as a court artist. His work grew popular, and his days became so busy that he often regretted his career change. Kyle, ardent knight, and Lute, prodigy. After the war, Kyle and Lute were married, and Renee. Kyle's friends were disturbed by his choice of brides. They could not deny his happiness. Before long, they had a son, and Kyle dedicated himself to his upbringing. Tana, winged queen. Tana lived happily in the prosperous post-war Fralia. She flew to Renee often to visit her dear friend, Erika. That's it? Wow, that was shit. And his king is I can't pronounce that. Christ. Strategian? As Simonani succeeded his father Hayden as king of Fralia, his resourcefulness and tactical prowess helped him build a court of loyal vassals that served to lead the country to greater prosperity. Amelia, Rose of the War. You do not deserve that title! Following the war, she returned to Grotto to assist in her country's reconstruction. She surrounded herself with new friends and used the strength she found on the battlefield to live her life in happiness. I think if you have an aid support between her and Duessel here, that Duessel finds Amelia's long-lost relative. I think it's her mother, which is a nice touch. Following the war, Duessel returned to Grotto, where he was instrumental in its rebuilding. He spent his remaining years watching over Grotto and sharing his wisdom with other nations as an expert combat instructor. Noel, Watcher of Darkness. Darkness! Noel returned to Grotto, where he dedicated himself to rebuilding it and fulfilling Lion's vision. When the country was restored to its former glory, he disappeared without a trace, never to be seen again. Cormag, aloof lanceman. Cormag returned to Grotto to assist in the reconstruction of his country. Shortly after, he left to wander on his own. When he reappeared, he rejoined the army, not as a knight, but as a common soldier. Dosla of the Steady Axe. As Rochelle rose to become queen, he remained by her side, watching the Rochelle grow to become the queen she was destined to be, was Dosla's greatest joy in life. Renak, rich merchant, quote unquote. Rochelle summoned Renak back to Ralston, and he was forced to return. He was never able to escape his service to the self-centered princess who became queen. Admittedly, he didn't try very hard. Garrick, the Desert Tiger. Garrick continued as a mercenary. Over the years, his reputation grew so great that he had more job offers than he could handle. I could tell that just by reading. One day, without warning, he left, never to return. Tethys' beloved dancer. She danced from city to city, and the entire continent became her stage. Her fame grew and grew, and large crowds gathered wherever she performed. Owan, enthusiastic student. Owan continued his studies, modeling his life after the teachings of Soleil. Eventually, his education branched off into different paths. His insatiable curiosity led him on a trip to explore the world. Marissa the Crimson Flash. Marissa became battalion leader for an elite mercenary force. Many men sought to challenge her to a duel. and none of them stood up to her blade. Soleil, the Well of Wisdom. Soleil returned to Kier Palin, where he remained a faithful servant of the Manaki. His days were not spent in isolation. Many of the friends he met during the War of the Stones came to visit his village. Myra, the Great Dragon, after bidding her farewells to Ephraim, she returned to Darkling Woods. She lived a long and full life, served by the people of Kier Palin, and comforted by the memories of her dear friends. Just because this text goes by so slowly. Erika, Restoration Queen. Erika returned to Renee and began the reconstruction effort with her brother, Ephraim. Seeing peace return to the lives of her people filled her with happiness. Her smile became a symbol of her people's joy. This fucking text goes by so goddamn slow. I think this is the end right here. Ephraim, Restoration King, and La Rochelle, Queen of Light. Ephraim and La Rochelle each returned home after the war, but La Rochelle visited Renee often. Over time, the two were wed. Their marriage rousted into turmoil. La Rochelle's self-centeredness carried the day. You know, as La Rochelle does. And that is the end. So, you've beaten the game. I've actually done it on hard mode, holy shit. What does beating the game unlock for you? Well, if you have to ask, I shall indulge you. It's here in the extras. I think the Link Arena was here the whole time. But I'm not going to go over because you require a link cable, and honestly, who does that anymore? Now, the actual extra datas are in the sound room. I'm actually missing some of these tracks. Wow. Shadows A. I wonder what I could be missing. Well, just hear a random track. Okay, so this is the death theme. The game over theme. Okay. And you can read all the support conversations you got over the game. So, and shows you how many of them you still need to get. But good luck with them. So it's not like I haven't used some of these units before. I think the only units that I haven't like legitimately used are Dazla and Duessel. But the major thing you unlock is you can view the map of the epilogue here. Now that you've beaten the game, you've unlocked something known as Creature Campaign. You are freely allowed to travel the map and go anywhere. An entirely different theme. And basically you can take part in any skirmishes or anything. The major part of Creature Campaign is going here to the Tower of Volney and down here to the Lagdao Ruins. Because, believe it or not, I don't actually have all the characters in this game yet. I got all the ones in the main campaign, but you can unlock bosses that you killed during the main campaign for using Creature Campaign. But the only way to do that is going for the Tower of Volney and the Lagdao Ruins, which I will be showing off. The Tower of Volney I'll go for myself. It's 8 floors long, but most of the floors are locked until you reach certain chapters in Eureka/Ephraim mode. Like, you can only do, I think, the first floor, and you unlock another floor of the tower as you progress through the game. Anyway, the full tower will be unlocked to you as soon as you do Chapter 14. I don't know if you have to beat the chapter, just need to get to the chapter. But yeah, anyway, the Tower of Volney I'll do by myself, but if they'll grant me their glorious presence. The Lagdao Ruins, I plan to do with Merc and Arrow if they decide to join in. It is worth noting that enemies can show up on Grotto Keep, Johanna Hall, and Ralston Court, so you can revisit the secret shops there. Unless I can just do it. Oh no, I can just visit for here. But I need someone who has the member card, which is in the convoy right now. So for example, let's use someone who has inventory space. You do. So take these. And the secret shop inventory is a little different now that you've beaten the game. You can buy sham shears, spears, battle axes, brave axes, brave bows, Fimblevetter tomes, aura tomes, physics staffs, and one of pretty much every stat booster and promotion item. So basically, this is FE8's sort of end game. You do grinding around in the map in Creature Campaign and buy stat boosters to basically get to like max stats, cap everything basically, unload fucking everything. They still cost a lot of money even with the silver card though. That's just in Ralston Court. Johanna Hall and Grotto Court, or Grotto Keep, have different items than the ones in Ralston Court, but they both carry the same thing. Can I? Yes, I can. Do the secret shop here. So, Reaver weapons, Brave Lance, Purge tomes, Bolting tomes, Fenrir, Fortify staffs, Recover staffs, and lockpicks and body rings. So what you do is you go kill a bunch of enemies in skirmishes and a Tower of Volney and grind for money. Then you spend the money on basically wherever you want to buy stat boosters to get your army to basically near perfect, all max stats and everything, so that you can clear the Lagdao Ruins, which contains the hardest enemies in the continent. And I have never done the Lagdao Ruins before. I've never done the Tower of Volney either, mind you, but I've never done Lagdao, so I really want Merc and Arrow to be there. Because, you know, they deserve to be there. The Tower of Volney I can do on my own because it's easy enough. Lagdao Ruins will kick your shit in with no remorse. But anyway, that's the end of FE8 for all things considered. I will go and do Creature Campaign, but I'll do the Tower of Volney first and record that. I'm not going to upload it for a while, but I'm going to record them and you'll see them like bonus content much later. But anyway, what's next on the docket for me? Because I finally beat another massive RPG. I know this wasn't nearly as long as half of Radiance was, but it felt like an eternity. They tend to do. But I already have my next RPG already planned out. It's not a Fire Emblem game. It's actually a PS1 title. And I don't know. I guess you could call it a legend in its own right. But I've spilled enough details for that alone, I think. So I'll leave that to your imagination. But yeah, after that, I still need to edit, finish Crash Bandicoot Warped. May get back to some of the older LPs I have. What do I still have on tap? Mech Assault, Super Mario RPG. I'll probably never get back to doing that, honestly. I like what I play for, but I'll probably just never get to it. And Luigi's Mansion too, I guess. Or the first one, I think, is in Luigi's Mansion as well. But yeah. Those are just some I may not get back to. Move forward. Look ahead. Anyway, that does it for me. I've been Billy12510. This has been Fire Emblem 8. It's over for the most part. I just have a bunch of post-game stuff to do. So next time when I do get back to this, we'll start with the Tower of Olney. I will see you all then. Goodbye, everybody. It's been a lovely adventure.